up out of my sleep till I got old.
I know that's right.
Lord, to mercy. Is mine live?
Mm.
Hello.
Hello, hello, hello.
Greetings and salutations, good people. I'm gonna give it a little bit to roll on. Angel, what kind of candle is that?
Um, Child, I didn't forget.
Looks like blue, a blue hue.
Bahama breeze.
Come on, Bahama Breeze.
Okay.
Smells like the islands in here.
The Islands, okay. Greetings, greetings, greetings. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. The more you know, the more you grow with the show.
The more
Happy
you know,
Monday.
the more you grow.
I think this is I don't think we've been on since March, I think,
Correct.
right? Since March. Welcome. Welcome, welcome. Welcome, welcome. Welcome. All right. About a minute and a half in. Welcome to the show. It is my pleasure to work with my genius friends, LeAnzar, Stockley, and Angel Simmons. You can catch them at their websites with the same name, angelsimmons.com, leanzarstockley.com.
Easy peasy.
I am Brysen Williams, your hostess with the mostest, aka Sweet Spot Media. Thank you for tuning in today. Um, why are you giggling already?
Just thinking about what you said before we got on here, and then
Lord.
Sweet Spot Media. It just all went together.
You want to talk about it?
Nope.
Oh, okay. Okay.
It's the behind the scenes.
um, that's my number one knucklehead. So, let's chime in. Let's zone in. Because we kind of got a little CP time start today for reasons that will go unspecified. Lanza, congratulations to you, grad dad, grad dad. Share
Thank you
with
very
us,
much.
share with us what's been going on in your world lately.
Well, going back, my son just graduated from college yesterday. Had this
Yay!
graduation ceremony yesterday up in oh, I'm sorry, what's today? Monday, day before yesterday, Saturday.
Okay.
Up in Reno. Graduated from University of Nevada, Reno, the bachelor's degree in kinesiology.
Oh,
Mhm.
Yeah. So that's what's been going on with that. Just had the friendship retreat a couple weeks previous to that, as well as my birthday, which was a huge success. The retreat
Mhm.
um, went really well. Went really well in the beautiful Dushi, Curacao, or Cosao, as many of them would say. The
Douchey.
natives. Dushi, Dushi. It
not
means
to be
so like
confused
in
with the doogie. It's
Du-
different.
douchey. It's a word you could use for just about anything. Anything beautiful, anything. If it was good, if you liked it, like, oh man, that was some douchey food, or this was a douchey island, or this,
Oh,
somebody say something, oh, douchey. So papiamentu is from that language, papiamentu language.
Oh, okay. Well, you just done came back just well versed and
Well
everything.
versed,
Come
well
on,
versed.
speak. Come on, Duolingo.
Yeah, well versed, not a verse. Well versed, though.
Versed with a T.
Well versed, not a verse, but
hmm.
well versed.
Okay. I'm just saying. Tell us a little bit about the trip. I know it's kind of like a way to steal away and relax and reset, but I know it's always a purpose. You always have a purpose in the
Absolutely.
things that you put together for the people. So tell us a little bit about what you touched on. I know it was a gentleman's gathering.
This year it ended up being a gentleman's edition. Usually it's a friendship retreat that I do every year around the time of my birthday, and not just for my friends. It's originally for anybody that wants to do something with their friends. Um, More so of a kickback version of retreat. So it's not the intentions for the retreat are kind of woven into the actual retreat. So We don't necessarily have like breakout sessions the way we would at a typical retreat. We have intentional conversations that's kind of brought in, and intentional things that we do that all come apart. So it's kind of like think vacation, but with intention, other than just to sort of relax. And so this year theme was Amistad Connection, and Amistad means friendship in Papiamentu. Connection with a K means connection, and relaxation, relix is how they say it. Um, and we basically just got there. It ended up being all guys that signed up this year, so I capitalized on that and turned it into the gentleman's edition. But it's called the Soul Circle Retreat, Friendship Retreat. But I did the gentleman's edition, which worked out pretty good. So everything was just kind of tailored for us gentlemen. The highlight for me, one of the highlights for me was the Soul Essence experience, which we did was we basically kind of talked about what we thought our essence was, what we felt like the essence of ourselves was, what we would want to leave in the world, what lasting impression we would want to leave in the world if we could leave anything. And so after we had that conversation, we had a lab, which I kind of surprised the guys with because they didn't know about this part. And I said, now that we've talked about what our essence is, now we're getting ready to go into this lab right now and actually create that essence. And so we all got to create our own scent, our own cologne scent that would represent our own essence. So the guys seemed to really enjoy that, really seemed to like that. We also debuted the Soul Circle cards, the
Yay.
Soul Circle conversation cards that some of y'all may remember. And so this was my first time actually getting, other than what I did with y'all that day, the little question or two, this was the first time that I actually got to do it with a group of people. And I even saw further potential than what I thought, than what I expected, and just the ability of depending on who you're doing this with, how expansive the game can become. Needless to say, we didn't do the whole deck. We didn't make it to the whole deck. I think we only did about 3 rounds, and so being able to people read the cards and answer the prompt, but then us actually being able to ask, even for them to tell us more. It's all about trying to know each other a little bit better. So that went very well as well. It was just a really good time. Like we really had a really good time. There was no issues. Everybody chilled pretty good. We did a yacht party for my birthday. None of us were big partiers like that, but it was the boat thing we had originally planned for ended up getting canceled. So we had to settle for that one, but it was still good. It was still nice. And some firsts for some people, like one of my friends' first time actually getting in the ocean water. So just a really, really good time. Looking forward to next year. And I think next year we'll be in Aruba.
Okay.
So we're going to just go ahead and knock out. Well, we may not do the B Island, but the ABC Islands was what we were thinking. But next year we'll go ahead and do Aruba, at least as of right now. But it was a great time. Great time, friends reconnecting. And again, like I said, not just my friends. So people invited their friends, and so it kind of works out there. And plan to continue it.
Dope.
Yeah.
Well, what do you think that the thing that you got the most? I know it was like your retreat. You organized everything, but what do you feel like was your biggest blessing from being a part of it, or maybe what you received um, being on the trip?
Feeling seen. It during the conversation came. Just that was a very rich moment to me. And so some of the people that were there actually, some of my answers to them, some of their answers, just saying their things, it really felt like something that can answer some loneliness. And again, obviously you got to sustain those things, but that was just really rich for me. And some of them learned some things about me that they didn't know. Because we have so much of our life where we just assume, or so much of our life where even having been on the spectrum and, whatever things that we mask because people don't know what you're processing. And so to actually be able to share things where they see, oh, Oh. And I had a friend. I made a statement, and this just stood out for me, and it may not seem big to people, but I kept saying, I have sensory issues, and he said to me, "Can I offer you something different than that?" And I was like, "What do you?" He said, "Are you okay with just saying sensory traits?" And I teared up when he said it
Mm. Oh wow.
because I realized that there's so many things that we say, that I say, that is actually carrying this. You're broken,
Mm-hmm.
and there's shame, and
An
there's
issue.
whatever. Yeah, it's issues. And it's like, no, it's just a distinction that you have. It's just a trait that you have. And that just stands out to me for whatever reason, because I literally felt the freedom and felt the release. And it had never crossed my mind. And so for him to say that to me, and he was like, "You keep saying issues, And so, but it's because, and I called it an issue, mainly because of how I think other people would look at it.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm,
Mhm. So,
mhm.
Openness. Come on, freedom.
yeah,
Right.
Release.
yeah,
Yeah. Newness. That's good stuff.
yeah.
That's really good stuff. I'm glad that happened for you. And I appreciate you
Me
sharing
too.
that experience, because that definitely makes me rethink, you know, words do have power.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and speaking of words and power, Miss Angel Simmons loves great design. AngelSimmons.com. What's good with you?
.com.
.com.
What was the question?
What's good in your world?
Oh, that's loaded. Um, what's good? Hmm. I am at a crossroads right now with work.
Everybody.
Whatever's next. We say goodbye to our kids Friday,
Mm.
and this week is just packing up. And I am taking a month off unless the Lord says something different. I'm taking an entire month off work, um, just to re-energize and reevaluate and see what's next. I know everybody's fiscal year starting July 1, so we'll see what happens on July 1. But I'm going to be very intentional. I'm not going to be looking for
Mm.
anything in this month that I'm taking off. So it would literally have to land in my lap. And
Mm.
really, it's more like a month and a week or two. So it's a little bit of change. But um, most days,
You transition. My bad. You're transitioning. Are y'all coming back? You coming back next year?
no, program is over. So all
Program.
12, all 12 school-based clubs are officially closed
Oh man. Okay.
as of Friday, last Friday. So that's that. Most days it feels peaceful. Um, in the middle of the waiting and not knowing period, most days it feels peaceful.
Mm.
Just because I know who I am, and I know who God is, and I know God in me. Um, I know I am spoiled rotten. Uh, and he knows because he did it. So you're gonna have to continue this because this is what I'm used to. Um, but most days it feels pretty peaceful. My sleep is back on track. Um, Now that it's warmer outside, I'm getting my body back on track, and that I guess that's the good. You know, that's all I got. That's good, right there.
Mm.
And that matters, it might not be what you're used to, but it's still some good presence. So, you ride that wave and anticipate it getting greater and building.
Hmm.
OnlyFans is not too far away, so just let me know. Keep me posted. I got you. I support you. Okay.
Me too. You'll be my first subscription.
I mean, first, listen.
Hilarious.
I want to,
Wait, hold on, sweet spot. I saw you on the radio.
You saw me on the radio. You
I
saw me
saw
on the
you. I
radio?
saw well. I saw a video of how we used to see you and D on the radio. Are you
Oh,
back on, or was that old?
That was not my post, so
okay.
I seen it.
I can't rightly say it. It might have been a memory.
You was
Um,
show on. I was like, "Hey, y'all back?" And y'all didn't say nothing back, so maybe y'all ain't back.
no, that must have been a memory that somebody shared, or maybe that you were tagged in. But
Maybe. Why do they
yeah,
do that on Facebook now? But anyway, go ahead.
You know, them memories are hit or miss.
yeah.
Either it's somebody you miss or somebody you want to hit. That's,
Or probably both at the same time sometimes.
that's what it is. You just
Yeah.
never know.
Because our show was like, wait a minute, is we back? So
No,
hmm,
no, we cruising on the artist management side, making that work.
okay.
Got some things coming up, watch my page, watch my stories. Because I don't ever post anything on my page other than happy birthday to my parents and the kids or something like that. That's
Hmm,
all I post. But in my stories I be posting. So
hmm,
um but yeah. I wanna see, so you kinda got my mind rolling, it's always something. And I had another topic that I wanted to talk about. But
However,
however, I kind of want to stay in the spirit of being seen and
mm,
what that means to us, and how do we go about that, and how do we secure that, and how are we comfortable with that, because sometimes we're seen but it's not complimentary, right? Or it's not our spirit or our soul that's being seen. So how do we go about acquiring ways for our authentic self to be seen, and um, and even in that, dealing with the discomfort that it can bring sometimes when that comes about. I know, like for me, it's like, oh, you see me, but ooh wee, you see me.
hmm,
But I'm grateful you see me, but ooh wee, it's a lot when you say you see me.
hmm.
So how do we go about being seen properly, and what does that mean to us? What does being seen mean to us?
I think a lot of that is intentional. And it just took me back to a moment a few days ago. You know, I had an event, an outing with some people.
Okay.
Um, and when I left that outing, it was still very lacking. And and I was thinking about people I would have rather have been spending my time with. And I got on the phone and was like, "Hey, where you at? You at home?" And there's only a handful of people that I would count that I can call and say, "Are you home? I'm in the car." And they
Hmm.
say, "Come through, pull up," you know, and it might turn into a 2, 3 hour adventure. Or maybe we just sitting and chilling. And at some point we sitting on the porch and my shoes was off and I got my legs crossed on somebody's porch. But it took being aware of how I felt. Um, I was just at a table full of people and I did not feel like I was seen. I did not feel like I was being my authentic self. I didn't feel like that was a space for that. Nor did I necessarily feel like it was people I could relate to, at least not all of them, maybe a couple, but not all of them. And I really would have rather been with somebody who knew me
Hmm.
and just feeling that, recognizing that, acknowledging that, admitting that, and saying,
Hmm.
okay, well, what you gonna do about it?
Hmm.
Made a phone call. Now, had that person not answered the phone, I wouldn't have went. I wouldn't have called nobody else. I just went to the crib. But fortunately, they did, and that was an hour of space. I needed that space to sit with somebody who knew me.
Hmm.
I can kick off my pumas and cross my legs, and wave at the neighbors like I live here. I don't. I don't even know your neighbors. But I needed that moment, and I think so many of us ignore those promptings
Mm,
when we feel that way and we need something else because we're one, embarrassed because you don't want to admit that you need something else, you know.
Mhm.
So part of that is embarrassment, you know, or maybe feeling like it's a weakness, versus, you know, as strength or some supernatural power, you know. But feeling like we need something usually makes people feel less than. So we'll ignore that, we'll suppress it, we'll, you know, look over it versus tapping into that and getting what we need. You know, I've had to make phone calls and send text messages and, you know, reach out to people at that moment when I needed to reach out to somebody, because otherwise I wouldn't reach out to nobody. Um, and I had to get comfortable with being able to admit, okay, this is what I need right now, or at least this is the person that I want to talk to right now.
Mhm.
And sometimes that's even hard because when people don't answer the phone, you know, we tend to, well, I ain't calling them back, versus leaving a message and being transparent and saying, hey, you on my mind. I was thinking about you. You know, I miss chatting, whatever. Just wanted to say, hey, you know, we won't do that. It'll just be their missed call versus our message of endearment.
Mm. Mhm.
I
Mm.
see your wheels.
It just reminded me of some. It reminded me of what you were saying. As like it reminded me of. Oftentimes we say we. I don't want to say we say what the problem is, but we don't say what our need is.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like people, so we end up not being seen. We end up actually not being seen. It perpetuates the not being seen.
Mm,
Um, because the way we communicate our needs is usually through, or a lot of times is through the lens already of offense.
mm,
Or
And
we
so
just
then
completely miscommunicate altogether.
we completely miscommunicate altogether. And so then when we do communicate it, we'll come to a person and say, you didn't this. And so now what's going to happen to them? Defense. They're going to be on defense. And so then the heart still goes unseen. Or the other part is we intellectualize it. And so we speak of the intellectual facts of something instead of just going to the heart of it, of like you said, Angel, what I actually needed. You know, so it's like it leaves us in the, I say a lot of times, even in a lot of the groups that I'm walking with, we give a lot of a storyline, we give a lot of the intellectual details of things, but we don't say what it's doing in us. We don't actually really communicate what I need in the midst of this. And so then it becomes something that we, for fear or for whatever reason, we put a responsibility on the other person when we really truly didn't actually show ourselves. We expect us, we want what we say to be deducted from
mm,
what we said instead of just saying what we need to say. And so instead of actually, like you were saying a minute ago, you gave the example, instead of saying, hey, I miss talking to you, we'll say, you ain't called me,
oh,
or you ain't,
I ain't heard from
or I
you.
immediately.
ain't heard from you.
Ooh, that one
I ain't,
grinds my gears.
yeah, it's like I ain't heard from you, you ain't called me, and whatever. It's like just say what you need. What do you need? Just like I actually need somebody, instead of saying I need, but that's that vulnerable piece. And you know, it's like, so it's like it just ends up being where, like you were saying, Bryson, the communication is all often missed all around. We're not communicating our hearts a lot of times. We're communicating the trauma from our heart not being seen, instead of actually really just sharing what's happening in me, what's
So
going
we're
on
really
in me.
deflecting, probably
We
with
deflect.
somebody who has nothing to do with that,
Yeah. We
you know.
deflect and project. I say a lot of times, like, give me the heart line and not the storyline, because a lot of times the heart line is where even when I think about just like processing certain things, the emotional communication, we don't have emotional communication. We have emotionalism during communication, but we don't actually have emotional communication, which says this is what my heart is actually wanting to say, wanting to express, wanting to feel, or whatever. And we just jump to whatever our truth is, but that comes a lot of times with the pop the collar. It doesn't come with the. So I was just saying to somebody recently, and interesting that you brought this up. I was like, it's our job. It's my job to show myself. It's your job to see me. I can't make you see. I can never make you see. I can only be responsible for. Y'all know I like to get naked. I can only be responsible for showing myself, but I can't make you see. And even in that being responsible for showing myself, you can interpret that any way that you choose to interpret it. You take your clothes off, some people see you naked. You take your clothes off to another person that sees you with divine eyes, they don't see you naked, they see you nude. So it's like, it's really depending on what eyes we're looking at when we're looking at another person. But it's my job to show myself. It's your job to see me. And I think as a society of people, I think that we've just not done a good job at it. Overall, myself included. Like everybody's in their thing, or
You feel
everybody's
like it's a
afraid.
cultural thing?
Cultural, as in human culture,
Hmm.
or, and I venture to say more so Western culture, or at least more prevalent in Western culture. I think.
I think some of the barrier to that is not wanting to deal with rejection.
Yeah.
Because if you get to the point where you can be honest about how you feel and what you need and take that time to be vulnerable enough to say, um, LeAnzar, we ain't had a 5 hour conversation in a long time.
In 5 hours.
I feel like I need at least 2.75
Oh,
because
wait.
we got stuff to catch up. I don't. You ain't got to give me the whole 5, but I need two. I need at least 2 point. Okay, two and a
2.75.
quarter. I need at least 2.25 hours of your time. I read something, and I'm trying to remember if this was Simon Sinek. Is that how you say his last name?
I think so. Yeah, something like that.
But it was something along the lines
8
of
minutes.
most times when you're dealing with trauma or emotional distress or whatever, all you need is um, 18 minutes of
8 minutes.
conversation was it 8 or 18?
8.
I don't know. I might need 18, but whatever it was like, okay, 8, let's go with 8. I use 8 minutes of conversation with somebody that's close to you, and it will completely change um, the day, your
Mm-hmm.
emotion, your heart, your mood, whatever, um, and you can be vulnerable enough to say, Brysen, I need 8 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
You ain't got to fix nothing. I just need you to see me. That's really what it is, right? I just need you to see me. I might not even have a whole lot to say, so I can't say I just need you to listen to me. I just need 8 minutes. And that will change the trajectory of everything that's going on right now. You
Mm-hmm.
know, who you
Does
got 8 minutes
does
for?
8 minutes just kind of define or embrace the level of the amount of time it takes for the mental and the emotions to kind of shift?
Mhm. That's what it was. Just like a 20-second hug. You
Hmm.
know, you need so much time to where it starts changing the chemistry in our
Hmm.
bodies and in our brains. Those receptors start changing. It was 8 minutes of conversation with somebody you're close to. I still think it was 18, but okay, maybe that's because I just want. I'll take 28, but yeah. But can you text somebody honestly and say, hey, I just need 8 minutes?
It might be 18 when he because I know he was talking about when I saw him talk about some things with friendships. He's like,
Yeah,
who can't take 8 minutes out of a meeting, and so but that was but it may be you said trauma, so it might be
yeah,
18.
yeah. But can you even be that open and say, I know you might be busy, but I need 8 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's 8 minutes. I just looked it up. Simon Sinek,
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
8 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm looking for the thing because I like it's interesting that you brought up this topic because this came up in one of my groups, just the thing of being overlooked and not really seen. And I had a whole thing that let me tell y'all what I do sometimes when I'm in these groups. People be talking and I'm jotting, like and pulling from certain things. Like, okay, this how we move through this and navigate through this. But I for some reason can't find it. But anyway, um, but yeah, I think like you saying that the rejection piece too. Because my brother said to me one time, I said, I kind of tend to, and he was partially right in what he was saying. I was like, one, I treat people kind of for the most part the way that I would expect, to, like kind of like respecting people's space, respecting their time, and this is that and the other. And but it was something else in there, and he was like, no, but some of that is you don't want to be rejected. You don't want to reach out to somebody and they're not available because you're gonna process it. Not that it's the truth that you're being rejected in that sense, but you don't want to reach out to somebody and they're not available. Somewhere in you process that as, see, don't nobody got time for me, or
Hmm.
see, I'm not lovable to them, or see, I'm not. And it's like, yeah, you're right. There's some things we don't want to hear. We don't want to hear the no. Some of the things behind, when like even I say, and I do mean it. It's like it's not that there's the two pieces of things can't live in the same room. But when I say I listen for my name, there's truth in it, but there's also safety in it. Do you know? It's kind of like, yeah, and that's just one example of multiple things when that happens. I've said recently, I was having this conversation with people. I've had some friends that say, "Oh, I'm in my bubble. I've been in my bubble. I've just been in my bubble." Guess what I do when they say they've been in their bubble? I respect their bubble because they've said that they've been in their bubble, and they it's there's a mix of things in there because it's like, well, there's the reality that I would like to enjoy some time with you, but at the same time, I also don't want to mess up your bubble that you seem to say you like it, or that you seem is your only way to really kind of whatever. It's we're living in a society now too where nobody want to cross nobody's boundaries because everybody got boundaries now. Nobody want to cross anybody's boundaries. People want to respect people's, whatever. But I think that what comes along with it is still a grief. It's still this. Well, I really want, and like you said, Angel, again, going back to that because I think that's very powerful because we don't just say, "I need some time with you," or even "I want some time with you." Right? I had someone say one time, "It's like, well, sometimes when you say certain things, it's not to me, but they were saying when we say certain things to a person, you put it on them now to have to carry a burden." And it's like, yeah, but there's also this thing called social responsibility. There's also a thing called being in the world with other people. And so like everything can't be a super obligation. You're an introvert. So now we don't want to spend our time. We don't want to spend time with nobody. Come on. Like some of these things, I think we probably need to push reset on a little bit and really see what's really happening because there's so many people, Bryson, and that question is like this whole topic, I think is just deeply important. The amount of us that's walking around unseen, like really truly unseen, even if it's they only have this much capacity, but everybody just now will say that they're funny acting or they whatever, but you don't understand that they only have this much capacity. That don't make them a demon. It doesn't make them bad. Don't make them not a good friend. It's just saying that. So in essence, we don't see them because of our own need to be seen. And so it's like all of the measures of that keep shifting and keeps changing, and because our relationships are dynamic, and again, we don't communicate emotionally. We communicate emotionalism. We don't communicate emotionally, meaning revealing our heart. you know and so that's happening time and time and over and over and over and over again. you know I don't know, it's just so hard for me to say, hey, Bryson, I'm coming to town. I want to spend an hour with you. You got an hour for me? because you might have something to do, and then when you say you got something to do, it's gonna be like, I made it. I said it to y'all, remember? And you said we ain't them other Negroes. When I said, well, usually when I come to town, people say, oh, you always stay too far. And it's like, and so do you know what I started doing and I've been here 13 years, less and less. When I would go home, I stopped trying to connect with people, and that's a wound. That's not a truth. I don't want nobody to hear that wrong. It's not a truth that I should live in per se. It's a wound. It's every time I reached out, people were saying you stay too far. It's like, but I just flew 1,800 miles, and you can't drive 20 or 30. It comes out as it comes out as wound. And so because we're all experiencing all of these wounds, you know, I think that we're just having more walls built, and then we're all still, or a lot of people are still feeling more and more lonely. You know,
Same
because
cycle.
yeah, because honestly, I don't hear the process of, oh, you're 20 miles away. I don't feel like driving 20 miles. Do you know what our heart hears? I'm not worth 20 miles.
Say that. Say that again. Say that again.
Yeah, yeah.
Something I was thinking. For some people, I'm people more than more than the feeling of rejection and people just not being available when you need something. The reason why why we don't reach out. I think for me, it's also people just not being interested. So it's not even that it's like they might be available, they're just not interested.
You're not
If I
interested.
ask you for 8 minutes and you're like, Lord, what she got to talk about? I'm extra, so that I'm not worth the 8 minutes. I had a moment last month that I will always cherish. Um, because April was rough with losing my sister and preparing to end this program and um, mama and everything else that's going on. Family lost their minds last month. That's the after show conversation. But there was a moment where I was leaving somebody a message, and sometimes we text a bunch of words, and then sometimes they're voice notes. But it was like I had like a couple of back-to-back messages, and I caught myself apologizing for probably the umpteenth time. Um, hey, Bishop. But I caught myself apologizing for the umpteenth time um, for rambling.
Mm,
And my message was something like, I'm sorry, sorry for the rambling. My mind is everywhere. And the message I got back was the sweetest message. It was like, listen, let me tell you something. First of all,
mm,
um, I enjoy this. I embrace this. I want to hear. I want to hear these ramblings. Send me all of them. It's like whenever you need to do that, send me all of them because I'm enjoying listening to this. And it was like, oh, okay, somebody thinks I'm interested. And this because I've been in so many spaces where it's like, oh my God, are we still talking about this? Or when you're having a conversation and people look like they're disconnected
mhm,
when there's not eye contact, when the body language is not what you think it should be, because we know how to communicate. So we're tapping into all these cues and we're not getting eye contact and body language, and people are doing whatever or doing this or, whatever. So I've gotten accustomed to as soon as I see people look like they check out, I'll stop talking. I was
mm,
mid sentence just like that and start doing something else to see.
How
mhm,
long it would take for
I
them?
started testing folks just to see, and it became such an internal thing that as soon as I saw somebody look away, it's like I'm doing something else.
mhm,
And 9 times out of 10, um, I would not go back to whatever that was.
mhm.
By the time they finish what they're doing, and it's like, all right, so, oh, I'm sorry, you were saying something. It's like, I'm good.
Yeah.
You on the list. It's like I'm good.
Do y'all
You
think
will
we're
not
losing?
be called. You will not be contacted. You will not be one of the people. because I didn't get what I needed to get out of that.
Yeah.
I didn't get the
Y-
8 minutes,
Do
but
y'all think we're losing our capacity for these things? Like everybody's mind is, I mean, because I agree 100%. But it's like, but I'm also looking at it like it's so much going on in so many, in everybody's head that it's almost like the uninterest is not even, it's an uninterest, but it's not a malicious uninterest. With some people now, because obviously you're always gonna have people who are just like, I just don't give it, I just don't care. But I'm speaking to people that trying to be real humans. Do, but it seems like people's capacity, and I'm getting to the place where I'm again, even after playing this with the guys on the trip, it's some stuff that I'm like, oh, this makes sense as to why your attention is this short, or as to why you don't have. I've said to people, I've actually said to you all, this is not an excuse, but this is a. I've said, me and Angels had the conversation before. I said, y'all know, after I get done talking at work all day from 9 o'clock in the morning to 9 o'clock at night, I don't be wanting to talk.
that's why I don't call you.
But here's the downside to that. Here's the downside. The flip side to that is, yeah. So now is, and I'm not. I don't know how to say it. It's like, yeah, I gotta eat, right? I gotta eat. I gotta make my money, but at the expense of losing your connection with your friend. It's almost like everybody's trying to balance and trying to find what's the sweet spot. Where's the sweet spot? Because I work from 9 to 9
Mm, that's the sweet
talking
spot.
to people, and so it's like, and then you're legit. You're legit like, oh, I don't want to say another word for
Sweet spot.
another 13 hours.
Not 13
I'm
hours.
13.
But at the same time, I feel the brunt of, you start to feel your own, particularly like, and I'm just using this as an example because it's one of mine to be able to use, um the brunt of your social life, because we're all trying to put food on the table, right? And so this is my work life. Yeah, talking to people, listening to people, and listening from the heart, because y'all know I don't for the most part, let me say for the most part, because I think none of us are perfect. I don't half-ass listen to people. Do you know what I mean? It's like when I'm listening, I'm really tuned. I'm usually, let me just say usually I'm really tuned in, but I'm tuned in sometimes different, because sometimes I'll miss a detail you said, because what I've been practicing is I'm listening for your heart, because I have experienced such deep disconnection in terms of the loneliness that I feel is because I believe the answer to loneliness, closeness, is connection and closeness. And I want to even say more than connection, communion, right? But because I'm listening to just these details, I'll get lost, because the details don't make me feel close. It's, what is it doing to you? Where's your heart? Because I'm looking for the closeness. And so I'll miss a detail that was stated because I'm listening to what your heart is feeling. And nobody knows I'm doing that. Like, nobody really, unless I say that that's, kind of what I'm doing, and I'm processing. It's just like when I'm reading a book, I'll stay on one sentence. Like, dang, you just said that you stumped your toe. Now you on to some other details, and I'm still on, you stumped your toe. God darn it. Because I wonder how that felt to have stumped your toe. Now we 30 minutes in the conversation, and I'm still over at stumped your doggone big toe at that. And so but I feel like to some degree it's capacity.
And I'm
I'm
laughing
looking at it.
because I know it's true.
It's so true. So true. I perseverate on the thing. Just be saying, oh. But anyway, but I'm just looking at, and that's just on my own thing. And then think about these other minds that's going on. Where did they get lost in the conversation? And I don't know how to answer that, honestly. I don't know how I'm saying that to say, I don't think it's all malicious. I don't think everybody is just are not interested because they're not interested. I think everybody's minds are. We are. I don't even want to say stressed. We have so much on our minds on this planet, especially right now. It's so many things that people are thinking about, talking about. You say one word, and all it needs to be is a buzzword, and now people are trying to figure out. Shoot, I got to get groceries tomorrow. I don't even know how to whatever. And so now it looks like they're not interested in you. And if they don't have something to intentionally say, stay present, stay present, stay present. If and I don't know if we need to practice more presence to really just be with one another, like really just be with one another. But our minds are drifting a minute. God darn it, I got to pay this such and such bill. And then now we've left the one that's needing our attention. We've left seeing the heart in front of us because we're so caught up in our world of things. And it hurts me sometimes when I'm seeing it, because I also see us demonize people for having human. And like I said, there are some people who just don't care. But I'm seeing so many people that are just struggling, or so many people that have a certain capacity for certain things. And then they're checked out and they're gone. And so then we miss seeing them.
And then there are people who are just easily distracted or are selfish and, choose not to have the capacity to
Yeah.
chime in and tune in and be present.
Yeah.
Bishop B says, I loathe, in
Hmm.
caps, repeating myself.
Same.
Um,
That's a teaching thing for me.
Since
it's it
Even with the
it's
kids.
as if the uninterest is the new normal. Yeah, it's definitely like a thing. It's definitely a thing for sure.
it's a thing.
Yeah.
I do
Um,
I do believe it's a thing. Yeah.
he also
I
says
just
that,
don't think everybody is being malicious with it.
no, I don't think
But I
everybody's
definitely
being
think it's a
malicious
thing.
or intentional, but it's definitely a heavy presence with it. He also says we have to learn to embrace infinite now so that we're able to be present in the moment.
Yeah.
And you know what? I also want to throw back some of the responsibility on us as thinkers and feelers and lovers, because we get um, activated based on what somebody does, based on our past experience. So if somebody pulls
Yeah.
their phone out, maybe they were putting it on silent because it made some noise and they want to be present. But because I saw you touch your phone, I have
Yeah.
already stopped talking because I'm so used to that happening, or I've had bad experiences with
With
that
that
happening.
happening.
The same with the conversation I was talking about earlier. I immediately was apologizing for my rambling, probably because somebody told me I was rambling before.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and that
Either
was
directly or
not
indirectly.
necessarily
Mm-hmm.
acceptable or a good thing, or it was annoying for them, but for somebody else it's like, I need this, give me this.
Yeah.
I want to hear whatever this is. I want to hear this, tell me about your day. I want to hear all the things. Whereas if I have been telling people all the things somewhere else, they're doing this, or
Mm-hmm.
not paying attention, or I'm extra, I'm too much, you know, whatever it is that activates them, So
Everybody's activated in some
yeah,
way.
yeah, I'm using the word purposely to
Yeah.
not say trigger,
Trigger.
but
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
but we respond based on our experiences. So even us, in how we are being treated, we have to, what did you say? It's not always malicious. It's not always intentional. They could have been putting it on silent. They could have been waiting on a specific say. It could have been anything. It was not intentional to offend you or devalue you, or you're not less than or not worthy of this moment. It's not that they're not available. They had to do that right now.
Yeah. 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 It's just like I sense so much because, like I said, I definitely believe that there's some people who are I just think something else has our attention as a people.
Mm.
Something else has captured our attention. And we this that word intentional, Angel, is like, I think it has to be more intentional has to be intentional more than more than ever. I think more than ever.
I don't even think.
Because
Mm,
go ahead,
I
go ahead.
don't think it's so much that it's something else that has
What do you think
captured
it
our
is?
attention. Just that we are not conditioned to be tuned in.
Well, yeah, yeah.
Because if this was important, if this was critical, if this was what we're doing, then I'm gonna be present for this moment.
Hmm.
I don't think it's that it's something else that's, taking our attention or that we're attracted to or drawn to.
But
I think
something
that
else has to be
this
more important though. Like
has
what's yeah,
I
like
just
if
feel like it's that this is not important. I think
this is
that is
not
what it
important.
is. The selfishness and the self-centeredness and everybody doing their own thing and the individualism, and I think that's the thing that has kept us from communion
Uh-huh.
and community. I think that's the thing.
Yeah. Because obviously something is important to somebody, and it might not be this. It's like, even if it's just because everybody now with these words like, I'm protecting my peace. I'm so sick of hearing that. And it's like, and honestly, I just mean this in all fairness. Most of the people that I hear say that they're protecting their peace are nasty.
Ain't got no peace.
Yes, it's like there's no peace that you're protecting. Like, you're mean, or you say things with the snide remark. Like, peace is a fruit of your spirit.
Mm,
It's a fruit
mm,
of your spirit.
mm,
It's
mm.
not a fruit of what's happening around you. And so and honestly, there's nothing to protect. The way, to me, I think the way you protect your peace is by being your peace, not by not having chaos around you. But that's my own revelation. That's my
Mhm.
own thought. I have to take responsibility. I can be in a chaotic place and still be in my own peace. Now, something might get on my nerves, but I think that it's just so much protection that seems to be happening, that now we generally see each other either as uninterested, we see each other as enemies, we see each other as something I need to protect myself from. We see each other like our relational, the connotation that we take is negative. We're almost relationally negative. And I don't think, and people get on me when I say this, all of this self-talk that we're doing in our society is not helping. I don't care whether you it framed under self-love and self-compassion and self this, it is not helping. It's creating a more individualistic society, because the way it's falling, you say something to a broken heart or a hurt heart or a traumatic heart, and if they hear it through that broken heart, that hurt heart, or that traumatic lens, it is not going to heal them. It's not going to create us. It's not going to make us interdependent beings. It's going to make us individual beings.
And they don't have that mental or that emotional intellect to be able to absorb what it really means, my self-worth, and I'm protecting my peace, and self-care. They don't have that mental and intellectual power or strength to understand what
Yeah,
that really means in order to respond accordingly.
I had a conversation the other week about self-care. Actually, I have one of my groups is called self-care, a self-care space for dealing with relationship stress. And a lot of times, people, when I say what is self-care, a lot of people can't even answer what self-care is. And so my question goes, what part of the self needs to be tended to?
Hmm.
And we can't answer that. I need to go take a bath, or you just going to go sit in the tub, or you just going to go for a walk. Okay, you're going to go for a walk. What part of the self is that walk tending to?
Hmm.
If we can't answer, to me, if I can't answer that question, I don't know the self. I don't understand what self-care is. For me,
It's
part
cliche.
of my self-care is loving you, Bryson. When I understand what myself really is, it's also a social being. It's a social creature. It needs this measure of solitude, but it also needs this measure of community. And so it's no less self-care for me to call Angel and say, "Hey, what you doing? You want to go to lunch? I need I,
Mhm.
I need some time with you. But we don't think it that way because we hear the word self and we think all me. But if we understand the self as all only me, we're going to really ultimately miss all of what this really means.
Mhm.
But again, we understand things in separation is, and so the capacity, like you said, the mental capacity, the emotional capacity, whatever, because a lot of things just becomes trending, and it
Mhm.
doesn't become something we've really truly set with to understand what does this really, what does this really mean? I really see deeply how we suffer from this illusion of separation, and even in churches and spiritual spaces, they understand unity, two things coming together, but they don't understand oneness. Oneness never shifted and never changed, and I know my worth. And I see people do it like this. I know my worth, but you don't know your worth. If you treat me like crap, you don't understand your worth because actually there's no way possible, and maybe it's just my revelation, everybody can shoot me from it, that you know your worth and don't know mine.
Hmm.
It's not possible because to understand worth, I'm not talking about worth in the way the world uses it in terms of measurement terms, worth in the way that I think God would speak about it. To understand worth would be to recognize oneness and wholeness. To understand the self would be to know that this self is not an island, right? But again, maybe this goes into too why we all, there's the unseenness.
Hmm.
Or Angel, you said something earlier. Was it Angel? I think it was you. When I communicate something going on with me, a lot of us jump to this idea that I need to fix something
Hmm.
Mhm.
instead of just be with you in what you said. Y'all saw, I think I did a year or so ago. I think I mentioned it on here one time when I posted something on social media and I said, I literally said in my post,
Do not message me.
something is going no, no, I was like, something is happening in my heart, and I want you all to walk with me on it or to see me or hold me accountable to it. I gave a little bit of I had a client that such and such, such and such. Then I went back to I don't like what it's doing in my heart. Do you know what everybody's responses was? Oh, what you should have did. I didn't ask you that. I did not ask you that. I started this out saying something is happening in my heart. You can't sit with my heart. It was me trying. I'm saying things to
Mhm.
share my heart. We do it on social media. I get that it's social media. Listen, I'm just gonna say this for saying it purposes. You shouldn't be sharing all this stuff on public, posting all this stuff on. This is exactly why people don't feel seen. The reason that they're going to social media is because them in their little circle ain't even hearing it.
Mhm.
Maybe I should just throw the net out. Jesus said, "Cast your net."
Mhm.
Maybe somebody will hear what I'm trying to actually say, but we're too busy shaming and blaming, and we're really truly missing one another's heart. We're missing seeing one another. There's a reason everybody do everything that they do.
Right.
And so if you see somebody that's spilling all their guts on social media, don't your heart don't break to say, oh my gosh, they must not have anybody in their camp.
Now, it's some folk who go straight to social media, don't go to their circle, because they need that validation, attention, whatever. But
Seeking
and
validation.
they're definitely seeking validation, especially when you have a circle, when you have a team, when you have a core of people, and you just go straight to the public post. But for the most part, when you see that people they're looking to be seen,
Mhm.
because they don't
But
feel safe where
but
they
I
are.
was just finna say, why are they looking to be
They
seen?
don't feel
When we're in this mental health world, we were writing treatment plans. This child is having attention-seeking behaviors,
Hmm.
and we pathologize it.
Mm.
Well, here's the thought: if somebody was paying them attention,
Hmm.
something very basic to what humans actually need,
We wouldn't have to go
maybe
see.
they wouldn't be having attention-seeking behaviors. Attention-seeking behaviors is a trauma response, folks.
Hmm.
So when we're not getting what we need, something within us tries to answer it. A lot of times it's our ego. A lot of times it's a personality that we develop. A lot of times it's a now again, I'm not dismissing people who are just I'm gonna purposely do such and such or whatever. But for the most part, when the environment is not conducive to what we generally need, something in us tries to reach out for it in a way that's usually not healthy. It's because in that moment the nervous system has taken over. Notice when you've experienced a breach in your life. Where do we Why is it when you experience a breach in your life, for the most part, we don't just become deeply loving people? You create something, your body, your mind, your body, whatever, brain, because its only job really is just to keep you alive. It ain't got no morals, it ain't got no direct, and it's to keep you alive. It's for self-preservation. And maybe that's the other reason we're not seeing Bryson. Everything is in self-preservation.
Mhm.
We're all trying to self-preserve, but it's not serving our overall sense of being. But it's like when we experience a breach, 9 times out of 10, we go to something maladaptive. It speaks to what we're really supposed to have. It speaks to what we're really supposed to be getting. Now, again, you still got to take responsibility for it. If you weren't getting what you needed, you got to take responsibility to heal. You don't heal in isolation, though, but you got to take responsibility to heal, right? I have to say to my people, hey, I need somebody to walk. If your brokenness happened in relationship, guess how it's gonna heal?
A relationship.
In relationship. And we don't nobody want to say it. Everybody say you got to go heal yourself. That's a lie from the pit of hell. And I don't know why we keep saying it. It's not how it happens. That's
Let me
not how we grow. My bad. Go ahead.
let me no,
Yeah, we do
Reverend.
got some questions.
I just want to make sure we get to the people.
Yeah.
Um, Brandon says, I got a question. Is it our responsibility to tiptoe around other people's triggers, or is it theirs to guard themselves? Now I want to read all of them, and then we can go back. Tamika says, part of my self care is controlling my three alter ego from knocking the sugar honey iced tea out of someone who may not know what they're close to unleashing.
Mm,
And she
Uh,
ain't lying either.
mm.
there are so
She
many
got a
parts.
hurt. She sound like she got a hurt too.
Yeah, there are
Hmm.
so many parts of the mental anatomy. There's no way it can be all tended to. There's no such thing as completely happy.
Hmm?
And she was chiming in on your other statement. When you said you made your post, you didn't ask a question. You made a statement. There's a difference.
Sure is a difference.
So
I've
let's
said to people, I'm mature enough to when I want advice, I ask for that.
yeah.
Otherwise, I'm just sharing my heart
So is
because
it
I
our
know the power.
tiptoe? Is it our responsibility to tiptoe around people, around their triggers or their activations, or is it theirs to guard themselves?
I think it's our responsibility to handle people with care, and
Carrie.
it's their responsibility to guard themselves.
Hmm.
And guard, different than protect.
Mm-hmm.
They are not the same. The
No.
scripture says, guard your heart with all diligence, for from it flows the well springs of life. That guarding is not protect, is not this protect thing that we're doing.
And what are we
It's
guarding our
not
hearts from?
it's also not policing people. Evil.
There you go.
You're guarding your heart from it becoming tainted and infected. You're going to be affected,
Hmm.
but the guarding of the heart is about not becoming infected. It's like, so there's no way I'm going to keep all of the dirt out of the garden, or where we got to have dirt in the garden, debris. I'm not going to be able to keep all of the debris out of the garden all the time, but as I see it, I got to go get it and take it out. I got to go take out the weeds. Why? Because I don't want things to plant in my heart that's going to hinder the well springs of life from flowing from it. In terms of the way I see it, in terms of just our responsibility with people's triggers. First of all, I think triggers come up to be healed. So I'm not going to tiptoe around it in a sense that we're just going to pacify and all those other kind of things. But I will handle you with care. When you tell me that something triggers you, don't mean I might not ever do it. But it says, can we be mature enough to really navigate through this? Because a trigger is a sign that something in you needs healing.
Hmm.
And so, in that regard, as a friend, the scriptures say, faithful are the wounds of a friend. Listen, in that regard, I might not be safe, but I am supportive. Now, I do think supportive and safe should go together, but depending on how you interpret safe, to your brain, I might not be safe because you're triggered, right? But ultimately, I'm supportive. I'm supportive of your growth when you want to grow. And if you tell me you have certain triggers and you're trying to actually grow from them, not weaponize them, because what people are doing these days is they're weaponizing their triggers. They're weaponizing. We're weaponizing everything. We're weaponizing our neurodivergence. We're weaponizing all of our, well, I got what, and we're using it as a weapon instead of actually something to actually grow together. So my answer, I don't know, Angel, you might have something different. Bryce, you might have something different, but my answer is kind, not the tiptoeing, because that feels like catering to, but I will handle people with care because I do know people are experiencing deep traumas, deep levels of whatever that they're not trying to perpetuate, or at least I can see it in that. Even if they are trying to perpetuate it, God has given me sometimes some ability to be able to walk around that. Because if we're really truly empaths and prophets, we can see what's happening. And if you can see what's happening, you're also getting the wisdom on how to navigate it without having to chop somebody's ear off. So that's my.
Yeah, and it goes back to what you were saying earlier about people who are in their bubble and respecting that space and their boundaries. But part of that is just using compassion. You're using compassion, using empathy, and being kind. If you're doing those three things, then it's not tiptoeing. We're using compassion. We're
Yeah,
using
you're in a virtue
being
of
kind.
being.
That's what we're doing. We're giving people grace to grow. Understanding that they have some activations. No, I'm not necessarily responsible for um, laying down the red carpet for that, but I'm here. Like you said, support. You're being supportive. You can be a safe space, even if they don't feel safe to share at that
From
time.
yeah.
If you are using compassion, empathy, grace, wisdom, kindness, then none of that makes a difference. So,
Yeah, I like what you just said a minute ago. Laying out the red. I'm not gonna lay out the red carpet for your trigger.
right,
I'm laying out the red carpet for your healing.
for you.
Because unconditional love is not unconditional tolerance. And
Mm,
so and particularly when I start to discern that you're using your trigger to weaponize and to avoid and to what's that word where it's like to be complacent.
yeah.
There's a huge difference in that. But if there's something that's really, oh, it really just triggers you in some, we handle you with care.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we all want that. We all want that. It's certain things that just, I said to you all before, I'm not big on, I'm usually not big on personal space, right? The whole hugging thing. But don't I hug y'all every time I see you? Or
You are
or even coming from
so
be,
much better.
but do you know why it is? It's because I don't want to spend my life defending a trigger. And when I say trigger, it's not like a mind that I don't think comes from a trauma where somebody hurt me or something. I think it's just a part of the neurodivergent thing, kind of like, oh, but it's like I don't want to live my life according to fear, but that's my own personal commitment or devotion to being the highest version of myself. That's my devotion to being who I really am. And so again, at the same time though, I'll say, now don't overdo it. Don't sit and try to hug me for 7 minutes. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like, come on now. Yeah, you get what I'm saying? It's
You
like,
gonna get
but
the 20 seconds, but you ain't getting 25.
you might get and so it's like it's one of those things of it's one of those things where I think that there's a harmony that has to happen and there's a balance that has to happen and a truly, like you're saying, Bryce, there's a seeing. It's kind of like, but I've also made that decision. It's like I've told people, please don't not hug me. I that's not because my heart isn't that. It's just something in my mental or in my whatever that. My heart's not that at all. And I want to live according to what my heart is. But I don't think everybody's made that commitment. I don't think everybody's made that devotion. Y'all know I prefer the word devotion when you talk about a human. I don't think everybody's made that devotion. If you see something in you that's ugly, or if you see something in you that you don't really want to be the way you are, you're going to need people that you can trust that that you can feel safe with. But even when you don't feel safe, man, if we wait to feel safe with it, something requires your bravery. My friend Lafayette gave me that. I was saying with this gentleman's mental health check-in, we talk about safe space, and he said, "No, this is also a brave space." And I said, "Ooh, ooh, ooh."
We talked about bravery and versus courage, not that long ago on the show. So yeah, definitely necessary.
I
Oh,
always got to be somebody that's willing to look. Why
right.
would he even try to commit suicide? Like, why would the bishop do that?
Petty,
Why? Why would the
petty,
petty?
petty. Let me take a second and shout y'all out. Because you all knew last month was difficult for me, and I didn't feel any pressure to talk. Cause y'all know I talk. So if I'm not talking, I ain't got nothing to say. And
I
I
feel
have
it.
been I have been in spaces, in the last 2 months where I ain't got nothing to say, or last 5 months I ain't got nothing to say. Um, and I appreciate having people that understand. Okay, that's not her, but she must not have nothing to say. And let me be. I'm gonna have to be okay with that because I
Mm-hmm.
have not felt forced to have conversation or outings or anything like that. So I appreciate you all. Also, the older I'm getting in this 40 something else thing, I'm recognizing that sometimes I have to be in spaces where it's a combination of people because I can't just take one person's energy. I need like
Sometimes you need some
I need a
buffers.
buffer. Like I
Mm-hmm.
need some
But it's just
triangle
real talk,
space.
though. That,
I
yeah.
because if you just want me to talk, I'm gonna talk. You gonna talk to me. I ain't. You gonna be talking because I ain't got nothing to say.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're sitting in a group with some people, even if it's three or more, 3 or 4, but you can do that. I can be here with 3 people. I can't be here with just you, um,
Mm-hmm.
because
Mm-hmm.
you gonna want a lot from me that I don't have right now. So. I've had some conversations with some friends, recently about that too. 4 of us can go out. I can't go out with just you.
Mm-hmm.
I ain't got it. I ain't got it
Mm-hmm.
because I ain't
Mm-hmm.
got I ain't got that many words right now. But I just wanted to say that I appreciate y'all.
And the 20-second hug. I thank you, Lee, for always giving me more than a 20-second hug.
Oh, you
I
get
don't think
Well,
I
you
don't
my
I
you
don't I
my
don't think
Hershey
that we
chocolate chip.
actually count the numbers,
you
but
get more.
every time, no, I'd be like this close to being pregnant after you get through
Yeah.
hugging because it's never regular. Like this, like phew.
That's probably why he don't be giving it up.
It's a quality hug. See,
There's
it
a
don't matter. It really
quality.
got to be 20 seconds. It just got to be quality.
There's quality, and I
Yeah.
love it. I thank you.
Hilarious.
I thank you. I hope that we have been able to reach and touch and share and just kind of open the eyes on what it truly means to be seen and on what it truly means to help others, our loved ones, be seen as well and hold that space for them. It's a big deal and it's very necessary. As we said earlier, we are devastatingly distracted by the world, by everything, by life, period. Um, so it's very important. Make it your business to be vulnerable so you can be seen. And that also means, adequately sharing and communicating what you need, not what you want or what you think or deflecting or whatever the case may be, just adequately sharing your needs and then flip that over and be that same thing, you know, for your loved one in whatever capacity that might be. But it's very necessary and just try to do that on a regular and just kind of see how that makes a difference in your day and in your person's day, your people's day.
Yeah.
It's a
Can I
big
add
deal
this because this is one of the things that came up in the group that I thought was really helpful with what you just said
for
a
sure.
minute ago. Um, when it comes to our hearts and this hope, like I said, it's your job to show, and it's other people's job to actually see. But it's like name what you need, even if you don't get it. All right, it's extremely powerful. Sometimes us, we're afraid of this vulnerability thing, but a lot of times we don't really actually invite people into our heart space. And I'm not saying just like a formal invitation, like, but it is a formal invitation. When we start actually having vulnerable communication, and I can say this for a fact, I've seen this happen because I've said I'm trying to bring a different level of quality even to my friendships. There's always the fear that people may not receive it, and there's always going to be some who don't. They just don't respond for whatever reason, in whatever way. But I am finding that naming, to the best of my ability, naming what I actually need, actually having emotional communication, I'm feeling a lot better, and I'm also seeing a different response from the people next to me.
Mm.
I'm actually seeing that it's inviting them out of the distraction into the heart. All right. So everybody's not going to do it. Everybody's not going to respond. We don't got to, whatever. But naming what you need, one, gives you clarity on what you actually really need, what you're really trying to expose, what I'm really trying to show, what I'm really trying to share. The thing you got to anchor in is, if I communicate what I need and I still don't receive it, it doesn't change my worth. Right. So I'm still anchored in that. But name what you need, even if you don't get it.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
going to do
You have to
something
be
for you.
transparent. You have to.
Absolutely.
You got to.
Absolutely. Yep. Yep.
Thank you, Bishop. We appreciate you too, brother.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thanks to everybody that chimed in, Tamika, Brandon, Greg, and it might be folks that I can't see because I'm always missing somebody. But to all that chimed in, we appreciate you, and take this, take being seen with you, just in your journey through the week. Make it a point, make it a true point. Name what you need, even if you don't get it. That's powerful. Tell somebody now. Tell
It
somebody.
is.
Don't you start up in here. I
Don't
already
you
know.
stop.
Don't you start.
Don't
Don't
you
you
stop.
start. Um, Lee, pull a card for us really quick before we
I
close out.
was thinking that.
The open deck ain't even in here.
Uh,
Lord to mercy.
you
Yeah.
should have been ready, man. I
My
was
bad.
sure not thinking that.
I might have a
I'm like,
picture
is
of it
that gonna
tomorrow.
start another hour? No.
Listen. Telling you that
So
thing.
next time we'll start off with the card. I
Yeah.
was hoping you
Mhm.
had them there. I was
Where there's
trying to
one on
think.
the advertisement you can read.
Okay, well, go ahead then.
Just pull one from
But
the
I think
ad.
I think our next show should be just the cards.
Ooh, child. You trying to let people know our business. But that's good. That's actually good. It's a this, because y'all know I told y'all I'm tired of having conversations and people not actually really seeing it in action,
Yeah,
Mm,
seeing or applying it even for
this will be
themselves.
a public demonstration.
It's like, because I ain't got no, y'all know I answer any question as long as I know you ain't really trying to use it to be malicious. You know,
yeah, for sure.
here's one card on the advertisement that said, "What's a piece of relational wisdom you'd share with the group?" Oh, wait, let me read the little quote at the first. This is one of the friendship philosophy cards. And the quote at the top by Albert Hubbard says, "A friend is someone who knows all about you and still loves you. What's a piece of advice? What's a piece of relational wisdom? I'm sorry, not advice. Relational wisdom you'd share with the group?"
Unconditional by any means necessary.
Mm,
Love me to it, love me through it, and vice versa.
mm. What do you think the benefit of that is?
No judgment. Uh, purity, purity, clarity, a deepened love and connection.
Come on, deep in love.
A deepened, a deepened love. Being understood, not being judged.
Mm, mm. What's something that you wish that people understood about you?
Me?
Bryson answered the other one,
Oh,
so
Say it again.
What's something that you really wish people understood about you?
That I give from the heart.
What does that mean?
I think most of us are used to um, people having ulterior motives when they're giving, sharing, being a blessing to somebody, showing up for people. And some of us, that's just how we're designed. Um, that's just how we're wired to give. It's something that it's something that fills my heart um, when I do it, regardless of how it's received. But it's something that fills my heart when I do that. Um, whatever I'm giving, time, energy, money, food, cakes, whatever. Um, I
Oh, praise
enjoy
the Lord Jesus.
I enjoy cakes. I enjoy
Mm.
Which cakes? Oh,
Ooh,
I
this
enjoy
our
giving.
love language, Jesus.
Um,
Mm.
but I'm a sharer, I'm a giver, I'm a lover. So, that fills me. That fills my own cup by doing that. And it does not change based on how it's received, or I don't have it's not an expectation that's attached to it.
mm, hmm,
And I don't think enough of us have experienced love like that, where it's just full, it's just flowing, it's a fountain, and here, drink, my friend.
non-transactional.
Right. It doesn't require you to do anything for it. It's just, this is who I am, this is what I do, this is what I get.
Wow. We got a couple people that answered those. I figured we should show them and then we can get out of here, I guess. But which one was this? Was Bishop responding to? Mine would be intimacy. Intimacy equals intimacy. Allow those that deserve it to be intimate with you, and you intimate with them. That was to the wisdom, right? That was to the relational wisdom one, Bishop. And then um, Greg said, I think this was to the question you just answered, Angel. The
Mm-hmm.
purity of my heart.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. That's what's up, Greg. That's what's up. So, but y'all see how you answered the questions and I asked you another piece to it. You can do that with these. You don't have to, but it's like the whole aim of this, even if you don't get through the whole deck. And there's some other cards you can do, like some funny, silly stuff or whatever, but it's like it's to leave knowing something, or to leave seeing someone, or to leave loving them in a way that you didn't love them before. That's the whole point and the whole purpose. So it's a good little deck, y'all. Good little deck.
And
Yeah.
we're gonna peel those layers back on our next show,
Yep,
hopefully
for
next
sure.
month.
All right.
Hoo-wee.
Cool beans.
Thank you guys for tuning in. If you want your own deck of cards, go to LeAnzarStockley.com, get yours. And he might have a couple of books for you to purchase as well.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Not right there.
Oh,
But
I
have
do.
mercy.
But
oh, okay. All right, Lord,
they done
go to
seen them so
closet.
much,
Go in the
No,
closet.
it ain't never enough. It ain't never
It
enough.
ain't never enough. Nice prompt,
All right.
Bryson.
There
Jesus, Jesus.
you
Thank
I
you.
know the light is bright.
That's
There
it right
it is.
there. Perfect.
Yeah, they got it. You got it.
Perfect.
Relationship
Relationship
ready?
ready and relationality. Check
Yes.
them out. LeAnzarStockley.com. And I don't even have to say anything about Angel because she stays ready. Check her
Stay
out.
ready. She ready.
AngelSimmons.com. She ready. Loves great design. Target of love. Check her out. And you also have your other show. When is it? When is your other show airing?
Mentality. With Miss Chrissy Johnson, brought to you by B-Side Productions. Our June show is the 5th,
June,
Thursday night. Thursday night, 8 o'clock.
June 5th.
So
Central.
all things mental health,
Central
including
Standard Time.
8 o'clock
yeah,
Central.
including whatever tea we're drinking, whatever fancy T-shirt we're rocking. But we're talking about mental health and whatever awareness is going on for that month.
Y'all should make y'all own tea.
We should, because
Yeah.
ain't nobody
Yeah.
sponsoring the show.
Yeah,
So
go
I'm sick of drinking other people's tea.
ahead and get you some tea made with some ostrich sprinkles in it.
Oh, ostrich sprinkle.
Ostrich dust.
Is that legal?
It's illegal to eat ostrich, so I guess.
You- Right about
You-
that. Then you had some ostrich burgers.
I had some ostrich. I made meatballs. Some ostrich meatballs.
You had
Lord,
ostrich
you out
in
here
the
trying
ostrich
it.
balls.
If anybody got any suggestions of new
Not
animals
ostrich
from
balls.
LeAnzar,
I had
that's
ostrich meatballs.
Oh, that's different.
That's different.
Make the distinction. Anybody got any suggestions of new animals for LeAnzar to try? He always looking for new animals.
Looking for something new to eat. No elk though. I had that. Didn't like it. Camel is the next one I'm finna try. But yeah.
Clock out.
You know what, Bishop? We're going to take your advice. We're clocking out. Thank you, guys. This is the show. Check
Take
us
your
out next
computer.
month.
Let me not take your
Check
phone.
us out,
Give me your
check us
phone.
out next month. We appreciate you guys so much. Thank you.
Yes, Greg. Very strange.
Greg, no, Greg would like it. Greg, listen, sir, before you close it out, go get you some ostrich meat. Go get it, brother. I think you would like it. I really do. I think you would like it. I know your palate a little bit. Go get you some ostrich and try it. And that you
Give
come
some
back and let
ostrich
me know.
balls, Greg. Good night.
Ostrich meat.